Hello everybody, my name is War of Noise because that's what this is. This is my first video. It's going to be pretty rough, so cut me some slack, but I want to jump in here and put this one out as quickly as I can. I'm probably going to make a video about myself later, but for now, let's just put this one out there and see where it goes. I have noticed over the years that there seem to be slight deviations in individual positions among feminists as to the true position and outlooks on topics and beliefs held by the movement. In some cases, I've also found a certain lack of clarity from feminists when asked about the specifics of certain topics that pertain to feminism as a whole. To set the record, I've written this as a series of questions to ask feminists of any gender and from any part of the world, so that we may be able to help others understand what you mean. Specifically, this is about the phrase women's rights. Please understand that I don't mean these questions to be confrontational. None of these are rhetorical questions, and I am not implying anything by asking them, nor using this to make a larger statement. I truly believe that a lot of the problems we have in our modern socio-political landscape stem simply from a lack of communication and clarity. I'm trying to alleviate that here, if only just a bit. So here we go. What do you mean by women's rights? What do you mean by rights? Do you mean laws enforced by the legal system of the country that you live in? I ask this because when I, and I would imagine most others, hear the word rights, we think of laws codified and enforced by the government that we live under. If the answer is no, then what do you mean by rights when you say women's rights? If the answer is yes, then whatever country you are from, what legal rights do women not have on the basis of their gender? Furthermore, what rights are not provided women in your country but are provided to men on the basis of their gender? And the opposite, what legal restrictions are enforced upon women but not on the men of your country? What rights are absent, if any? When it comes to the rights of women of your country, is there a difference between the country you live in and other parts of the world? Does your country have a better track record when it comes to women's rights versus other places? What would you say is the worst part of the world right now for women's rights? If other countries are worse in terms of their rights towards women versus yours, is this because of the culture or the government? Are those two mutually exclusive, or do they interrelate in any way? Is it possible for people to bring an oppressive culture with them when they move to your country? If yes, should something be done about that? Is it possible to create a list of specific criteria that need to be achieved for women to be truly equal in the country you live in? If that list is achieved, is feminism's mission in your country complete? Would it still be needed? I ask these last few questions because I have gotten the impression that there are elements within the feminist movements across the West specifically who seem to have the mind frame that the fight for women's rights is eternal. They seem to take the approach that not only is this fight endless, but almost impossible to win, as what constitutes oppression seems to constantly change. Am I wrong in thinking this? To be blunt, could there theoretically be an end to feminism? Is it possible one day for it to no longer be necessary? If so, what would that society or world look like? Lastly, if you feel that any of these questions, or all of them, are obvious answers that everyone should already know, please understand that is not the case. As stated in the beginning, I've begun to see an inconsistency in specifics when it comes to people already within feminism. One thing that I think is occurring is that these specifics are very rarely ever articulated between feminists themselves, and an ongoing series of assumptions is constantly occurring where people believe others see things the same way they do, but never actually make an effort to confirm that. And there you go. So please feel free to respond to this in any way that you would like. Make a response video, write it out in the comments, whatever. If you do so, I appreciate it. If you share this video, I appreciate it. And if you just view this video and leave a comment, I appreciate it. Have a good day and tune out next time.